Here we will see ListBox server control in ASP.NET. ListBox control is an ASP.NET web server control which is used to store the multiple items and allows user to select single or multiple items from the list. ListBox control is same as drop-down list control. But the only difference is that drop-down list control allows user to select maximum only one item at a time. On the other hand, ListBox control allows user to select multiple items at the same time. So, ListBox control is also known as multi-row selection box control. The ListBox class is derived from the class system.web.ui.webControls. The ListBox control can be created using the design section by dragging and dropping the control from the ASP.NET toolbar window, or it can also create from the markup section using the following code: ListBox, its ID and run at server. Different properties of ASP.NET ListBox controls are ID, which is used to gets or sets the programmatic identifier assigned to the server control. Access key is used to gets or sets the access key that allows user to quickly navigate the web server control. If the auto postback is set to true, an auto postback will occur whenever the user selects the item from the list. Back color property is used to gets or sets the background color of the web server. Border color is used to gets or sets the border color of the web control. Border style is used to gets or sets the border style of the web control. Border width is used to gets or sets the border width of the web server control. CSS class is used to gets or sets the cascading style sheet rendered by the web server control. Font is used to gets the font properties associated with the web server control. Forecolor is used to gets or sets the foreground color, typically the color of the text of the web server control. Items property is used to gets or sets the collection of items in the ListBox control. Item type is used to gets or sets the name of the data item type for strongly typed data binding. Rows property is used to gets or sets the number of rows displayed in the ListBox control. Selected index is used to gets or sets the lowest ordinal index of the selected item in the list. Selected item property is used to get the selected item with the lowest index in the list control. Selected value is used to get the value of selected item in the list control, or selects the item in the list control that contains the specified value. Selection mode property is used to gets or sets the selection mode of the ListBox control. Select method property is the name of the method to call in order to read data. Text control is used to gets or sets the selected value property of the ListBox control. Tab index property is used to gets or sets the tab index of the web server control. Tooltip property is used to gets or sets the text displayed when the mouse pointer hovers over the web server control. Visible property is used to gets or sets a value that indicates whether a server control is rendered as a UI on the page. And width property is used to gets or sets the width of the web server control. Different methods for ListBox controls are data bind, which binds a data source to the invoked server control and all its child controls. Dispose method enables a server control to perform final cleanup before it is released from the memory. Equals method determines whether the specified object is equal to the current object. GetData method retrieves a data source view object that the data bound control uses to perform data operations. GetDataSource retrieves the iDataSource interface that the data bound control is associated with. Focus method sets the input focus to the control. OnLoad method raises the load event. And toString method returns a string that represents the current object. Different events of ListBox controls are Selected index change event occurs when the selection from the list control changes between posts to the server. Text change event occurs when the text and selected value properties change. Data binding occurs when the server control binds to the data source. Data bound event occurs after the server control binds to the data source. Disposed event occurs when a server control is released from memory, which is the last stage of the server control lifecycle. Init event occurs when the server control is initialized, which is the first step in the lifecycle. Load event occurs when the server control is loaded into the page object. Pre-render event occurs after the control object is loaded but prior to rendering. And unload event occurs when the server control is unloaded from the memory.